Hey, this is Workbench Quagmire, back with our free code camp Python certification in 100-ish days. It's day 98. So if you watched the previous video, you know I got impatient and just took the exam. I'm pretty familiar with Python. I knew most of the basics. I did learn quite a bit about like binary trees and depth first, breadth first search, that sort of thing. Sort of more the algorithmic side of stuff. But overall, I did pretty well. I missed 4 out of the 50 questions, and you have to get 80%, which means you need to get 40 of the 50 right, and I got 46 of the 50 right. So what I'm going to do here for the last few days of our 100 days, because it will be 100 now, is to go over a couple of things that I think are important. For the most part, I would suggest you just go through the reviews like I mentioned before and really focus on the high-level stuff, where that's most of everything. It's what's the difference between this and that? You know, what's the difference between a string and a list, for example? Well, string's immutable. A list is mutable. You know, a string can be made up of a lot of different data types. You can have strings and lists, and you can actually have functions in lists, but you can only have characters in a string. And so, you know, that there's a difference between the string 34 and the integer 34, that sort of thing. Basic math functions, stuff like that. But what I'm going to talk about is this concept here, which was on my test, and I don't know if they probably randomize it to a certain extent, but it's something that can trip people up. So that did not work. Okay, what I want to do is split this window. Split down. There we go. So there's our function. And so it gets to kind of this. There's a little bit of scope kind of in this, and there's questions about scope on the exam. And then also like how functions work. So we have this outer function here, outer func, and we have a variable that's inside that function. And so let's do one more thing here. I'll put one more item kind of in this. But we have this outer function with a variable high from outer function. Then we define another function within that outer function called inner func. And we have the same message variable, high from inner function, return message. And then we call inner function and we return message. So what happens when we print outer func? So will we get the high from inner func, because we do call it here, or will we get the high from outer function? So let's just run this and see what happens. What's this called? Example? Yep. So when we print it, we don't get anything. Let's go and put some print statements in to like debug this and see what's going on here. So print message. Then we'll print the message here. Actually, let's print it before and after. Can't see the type this morning. And let's print it before the return. Outer return. All right. Let's see if I can figure out how to move between windows, and I can't. So run this again, and we get the same result because nothing is printing. Why is nothing printing? Oh, I know why. Because we have not called the function. We're basically saying print the... This is just the memory address of this function. See? Still no good at Python, even though I passed the exam. Okay, let's look at this error message and see what's going on here. So, cannot access local variable message where it is not associated with a value. Okay, and that's line 7. So, at this point, there is no message in this inner variable. So, or in this inner function. Let's go up here, comment that out, and rerun this. And let's see what happens now. Okay, now we don't have any errors. So we get this prints high from the outer function, and then we get the message is defined in the inner function as high from the inner function. So we get high from the inner function after we define it. Obviously, we can't do anything before it. Before the return, we get high from the outer function, and we get high from the outer function. So as you can see here, the key is that we call this inner function, but we do not assign it to any variable or anything. We could fix that. Let's go down here and let's say we make message equal to the result of inner function. Now, when we run this, you can see high from the outer function, inner function, high from the inner function, before the outer returns high from the inner function, because now we've captured what's returned from the inner function into our MSG or message variable. We print that, and then now that's what prints. So as you can see, this function here, when we call it, nothing, it just returns, but it returns and the return is never captured. So another thing we can look at here is what happens if we comment this out. How does scope impact what's about to happen here? So now we have no inner function, no message within the inner function, but we're going to print it and we're going to return it. Let's see what happens. So high from the outer function, inner function, high from the outer function, because scope says the inner functions have access to variables from outer functions. So we can see here that we get high from outer function, high from outer function, high from outer. It works flawlessly because this message variable, this function has access to this message variable from within itself. So that's sort of the concept I wanted to cover today and just talk a little bit about is scope. Scope will probably be on your exam, and sort of how do these functions work? You know, if you have multiple nested functions, what happens? So tomorrow I'm going to cover a little bit about conditionals, loops, that sort of thing. There was a question or two on my exam about that, and one of them would look kind of tricky. I didn't really have that much trouble with it, but I could see how people would, and so I'm going to create a file like this, and we'll walk through kind of how that works also. So thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on day 99 of our free Code Camp Python certification in 100 days.